right, we're letting everybody back in. We'll get started in a minute. All right, hopefully everyone got a chance to use the restroom and stretch their legs a little bit. The next section of our class, we're gonna do a little bit of practicing so that we are ready to go once we are ready to do the lab. That's the whole point. So first I wanna get this formula up front and center.
It's a join without video or video. You had to press it.
What's that? Is my video not on?
No, you're all good.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if you guys want to have this formula, ooh, can you guys see it? This is the formula for standard deviation. It's the square root of the sum of the difference between the score and the mean squared divided by your sample size minus 1. Have that handy. And let's share my screen here. Oh, that's not the right screen. Huh. You're like, oh, good for you. Oh, no, wait, can you see? This is always weird when it goes to this screen. What are you guys seeing?
Excel with
Excel. Okay.
numbers on A.
Okay, so my face is just gonna look like I'm looking away, but we're just gonna make it work. Okay, so these are test scores, fabricated test scores, okay? First thing I want you guys to do is calculate the range. How would you go about calculating the range?
Finding the highest and the lowest and subtracting, or having the highest subtracted by the lowest.
Right, so it's highest minus the lowest. Can you guys see if I'm typing?
Yes.
Stuff is, okay. So what does that look like for this particular sample? What is my highest score?
100.
100. What is the lowest score?
65, I think.
49.
Oh, 49.
49.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Good job.
We have one student who life must have been hard that week, right? So the way we can do a quick calculation in Excel, hopefully all of you guys know that, is you can do the equal sign, open up the parenthesis, and that'll do a quick formula that's just showing you the highest to the lowest score. That shows a range of 51. Okay, now how do I calculate the mean? Whoops, mean. How do I do that? Kyle's like, I want to say it, but someone else. Okay, go ahead. Someone else.
Add up all the scores and then divide by the number of scores.
Okay, so it's the sum of all scores divided by the total number of scores?
I think so.
Yeah. So now there's two ways we could go about this. We could do it, you know, the old-fashioned way, which would be mental calculation. 70 plus 85, 165. 165 plus 89, what is that? That's 254, and go down the line. Or how do we use Excel to our advantage?
Can't you just click and drag up through all the numbers?
Yep, so two ways. The one way, what Kyle's suggesting, is you click your top number and then you highlight all of it. And then I want to draw your attention to the fact of the sum. Look away. Don't look at the fact that it calculates the average for you. But the sum is 2084, okay? If you do it this way, again, Excel is your friend, right? It'll give you the sum. It'll give you the count. What is count?
How many?
How many?
Numbers there are?
Right, that would be your N, and it actually gives you the average, an average of 80.15. So you can do it this way. Another way that you could do is you could grab the cell right below. If you went to data You can then go, or maybe it's actually on, oh, not file, sorry about that, home. Right here, auto sum, right? Do you guys see that? Click that, and it's just gonna take care of it. It'll do the sum, and I say yes, and it gives me 2,084. Okay? Obviously, doing this makes everyone's lives easier. Now, how many of you guys are using Max? Say yes if you use Max.
I use the
Bought 'em
Mac.
online also. Like I got
Okay.
which one? Don't
So-
open it. Which one is that?
Can you guys actually do that in Mac? Is it the same process if you highlight all the cells?
Well, I use Excel on my Mac. It works. I don't
Oh.
use numbers.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so numbers, are you using numbers or Excel?
Excel. I use it through Microsoft 365. I think we all have it free. Or it's
Fantastic.
free to download on the App Store. regardless.
Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure whether it would give you the same functionality if you were using numbers on Mac, but if you guys are using Excel with Office 365, that makes it a heck of a lot easier. Okay, so let's say you happen to be very suspicious about Microsoft, big government telling you, I don't know how I said big government, that's not, has nothing to do with it. But anyway, and you're like, I'm not sure that I'm trusting these numbers. I want to do it right. So now I've just showed you how to use a formula to do the sum. How could you get the count? How could you get n?
Well, you could look to the left and see that it's at 28 and then 28 minus 3 or 28 minus 2 because there's 2 spots in between.
Exactly, right? So, and that would give you a count of what?
26.
26. Okay, did everybody track what Kyle just said? So I would take this number, which is 28. This is, score number 28 minus this score number 3. But because there is actually a score in 3, I would only do minus 2. Or the other way he just described it is there's just 2 scores missing from 28. So 28 minus 2 is 26. Now, let's say I'm still not trusting their stats. I'm like, nope, I'm going to do it on my own. I want to know the mean. I could do, open up a parenthesis and do 2884 divided by 26, which would give me 80.15. Now, somebody was like, wait, what? No way. Was that the same score? Indeed it was. Here's your average, 20.15. For the purpose of this class, you only need to go to 2 decimal points. You would not need these 5 decimal points, or in this case, what is that? There's like 8. Okay, so now we know I'm going to put this in bold because I'm going to want to remember that. I'm going to also edit this value real quick. You guys know how to format a cell. Number, I only want 2 decimal points. Here we go. Okay. The reason why I'm going to do that is I'm now going to create a formula. So again, I have 2 options. I can do it by hand. And if you're doing it for an exam, actually on paper, this is what you would do. I'm going to actually insert a couple rows here because I feel like now my writing is getting in the way. So remembering this formula, right? Now we figured out what the mean was. We need to figure out this variance computation. So I can do it one of 2 ways. I can do the score, which is 70 minus the mean. What is the mean again?
80.15.
Right. Okay. And I would get the score. Now here I'm going to make this x minus mean. I'm going to just label it. Okay. And you can keep doing that for every single one of these. 85 minus 80.15. Whoops. Actually, this illustrated it perfectly. Doing it this way, what is a potential, well, what are some potential pitfalls or problems?
You might user error. You might click the wrong button once.
Totally, very much user error, right? Like I just fat fingered it just right now during this example. So Excel does a beautiful thing where you can create a formula and drag it. So I could do X, oops. I could do, again, this formula. This is this value, okay, minus, no thanks, minus this value, okay, and it would give me this. And then Let's make sure that it actually works. Look what it just did. I mean, these are the kind of life hacks that make me very happy. So it does not take much, gang. Okay, so what I did is I created, there's the equal mark, right? An equal sign, open parenthesis. I selected the cell I wanted. In this case, it's cell A5 minus 80.15, which is my mean. I know this. After I'm done with that, I just took this corner piece and dragged it down. So, and you can see now, it duplicated the formula for the following. So you can see now it did A6, A7, A8. And I can keep on having it do that all the way to the end. Whoops. And here you go.
Beautiful.
Okay. Questions about what I just did?
I'm gonna drag us all the way back. That does make sense. Could you remind me really quick? N equals 26.
Yes. How I got that?
Yeah.
Okay, so two ways. Let's do it the old-fashioned way, right? You can count every single one of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26.
Oh, okay.
Or, so here's the or, the last data point is in cell 28, right? Because it goes 1 through 20.
Then it's missing the 1, 2, so 26.
It's missing those two, so I can do 28 minus 2.
I was trying to like remember a formula, how you got that. Okay, that makes sense then.
So you always have two options. You can use kind of the Excel cheat sheet in a sense, or you can just count it by 1. That's totally fine too. Okay, now what is the next column? What's the next thing I need? X minus the mean
So, squared?
squared, okay? So now I'm gonna need to take this over here and add, I think actually I need to do exponent. Where is it? Let's see. Let's see if this works. Nope. Let's, instead of plus, let's see what happens here. It says, no, this is not correct. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Stop getting angry. So, nope, not correct. Okay, so this is one where we might just need to calculate. I am certain that there is a quick way to do this. I do not want to waste the time to actually do that. Excel is meant to be user-friendly, so I'm just going to do that. Because that is what we're doing, right? Okay, I'm going to just drag it all the way down. Okay, it's fairly straightforward to do it that way too. Okay, so what did I do? If I'm trying to figure out what is the difference here, the X score minus the mean, but I'm having it squared, then what I need to do is I need to take this value times itself. That's what a square is, right? Right? Okay, so that's what this equals. Same with this one. I am doing right here. I'm doing this B4 times itself, B5 times itself, B6 times itself. Okay. Now, what is the next part of our formula? What do we need?
Square root?
Something before that.
Okay,
So,
divided by n minus 1.
so we are at this part, we did the score minus the mean squared. We need to do the sum bit first, okay? What's our cheat sheet to do a sum? Go right here, home, auto sum, enter. Here it is, 4,403, okay? Now, I need to take that value, whoops, I only need 2 decimals, okay? And I still need now to divide it by n minus 1. which is, well, I need to actually make it a formula, right? So let's write it out so that you guys have this also that you can go through. So sum of the squared deviation divided by the total n minus 1. That is what I need to do here. That is this next step. So I'm going to do this. This is the value. I'm going to do divide by 26 minus 1. Okay. Did everybody track what I just did here? I'm taking the sum of the square deviation, right? This is the square deviation. Taking that total number and I'm dividing it by my total n, which is 26 minus 1, which gives me 176.14. Let's say I'm going to format this to also be just two values. Okay. Questions about that?
Good on my end.
Okay, am I missing anything? Or am I done?
We're doing standard deviation, right?
Yes. Okay, what is this value right now? The way this is actually variance. Oh, I got it angry. Oh, wow, I'm getting it real angry. Okay, this is variance. What do I need to do to make it a standard deviation?
Square root.
Square root. Woo woo. Okay. How do we square root? Square root. This number. And then let's make it pretty because we don't need 18. Ta-da! 13.27. How did I do that? I entered the function to square root. Again, if all else fails, I am assuming at this point all of you have some sort of smartphone. There's a calculator function on here. No one needs to be busting out their TI-84 from high school. Use your phone. This is not a hard one. Or if you're like, my phone is jacked, it's not working, I don't remember this. Two things about Excel. You can always go to the help button. It will always be super helpful. And you can say, how do I do a square root? And it'll show you how to do the function. Or you can always go on Google, say, how do I do a square root of 176, right? Or you can start guessing, what's 12 times 12? Well, I know that's 144, so it's probably more than 12, right? That is a more tedious, we do that on our wild Friday nights here at home. So
Well, I thought that we had already gotten the square root step in the C column.
no, good question, Elizabeth. We got the squared. So what we did is we made it times itself.
Oh, sorry.
No, this is, so here's the reason why we do it this way, right? This here is going to give us some negative values. I want none of that, so I square it. Now I get no negative values, but then because I squared it, now I need to do the square root.
All right, I'm not paying attention, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to follow along and I'm like, square, that's all that
Yes.
I'm
No. Okay, so then walking away from this, the main things I need to report are the mean, standard deviation. Okay, so in here, let's say over here, so make it pretty. What was my mean?
80.15.
80.15. What was my standard deviation?
13.27.
13.27. So when you guys are working on your lab, you will have two different variables that you need to do this too. Those were a sentence. So you can keep it in the same, just like skip a couple of columns this way, or you can open up a new sheet. That part is totally up to you. But I need to see this exact work. And just for my own sake, I would love to see this in bold so it really pops out so I see your response right away. So you need to make sure to have done your, first of all, your mean. You need to figure that out. Then you need to do your x minus the mean. x minus the mean squared, find the sum of it, right? Go from here, finding your sum divided by n minus 1, which will give you your standard deviation once you've done the square root. Okay, that is the lab. What questions do you have for me?
You think we could run through it one more time slowly?
Okay, am I going too fast?
I mean, not really, but just like if we could run through it like one more time, kind of.
Sure.
step by
So can I ask a quick question just before we start over
Oh, yeah.
again? So for the, if I'm like looking at our equation, so where does x minus the mean come in to it? What does x represent again?
X is each of these scores. So if you look at that, it shows you
Oh,
this
so it's
score
just talking about,
minus the mean.
oh, so it's just the individual thing. Okay.
Yes, it's each score minus the mean. Yep.
So it's not a particular part of our standard deviation equation. It's just,
Nope.
okay.
No, it's fair question. Okay, I just made up another data set. Okay. So what is the first? So I'm going to let you guys lead the boat here. What do I need to do first?
Count how many variables we have in there. So 1, 2, 3,
Okay, yeah. So n equals,
10.
yep.
We need to count for.
Okay, so real quick, how do we know that it's 10?
That's how many variables are in those slots.
Right? So you could literally count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Or you could figure out that this is 16, right? And that over here, I have 6 that are empty. So 16 minus 6 equals an n of 10. I want you guys to be familiar with both because some of the data sets I'm going to give you in the future are going to be really, really, really long. So you're not going to want to go through, you'll make an error doing that. Okay. So good. Now I know what's my n. What else do I need to figure out?
The mean.
What's the first step in figuring out the mean?
So you can drag up or down from 60 to 50 or 50 to 60.
Okay. So let's say I'm going to be like, I just want to do it the formula way, right? So you would need to go to the cell below all of your data, right? Go to home and auto sum. Is everybody seeing where my cursor's going? Is that the part I'm going too fast on? Do you guys see where I'm at?
Sometimes like when you do the functions,
It goes
just
too fast.
real quick, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is why this is recorded too, so you guys can watch it again.
Yeah.
But this here, I would click auto sum. And then it's not going to work because, Excel is like, Julie, no thanks. It then shows me exactly what it's about to sum. So I have an option to say, no, that's not right, or yes, that is right. Click enter. My sum is 760. So adding up all those scores gives me 760. So now, how do I figure out my mean?
Um, 760 divided by 10.
Yes. Okay, so I just highlighted the cell that said 760. I could also write it out, it's totally up to you. And that'll give me 76. Now, to double check myself, let's do what Kyle was suggesting, which is start at 50 and highlight down to 60. And you see your sum is 760, count is 10, your average is 76. Check, 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 we got all of that correct. Okay, so I'm now gonna put this in bold because this is a number I'm gonna need to remember. Next, I am gonna just copy these headings here. Again, this is just my format. I like it to look a certain way. You guys don't need to worry about that. So if I'm doing X minus the mean, how do I write that up?
So you can click on 07 and then hit -76. And
Okay.
then that will create the formula where you can just drag down.
Yes. Okay, so why did I do that? I'm taking one data point, which is 50, and I'm taking away the mean from it. And the mean I've already figured out is 76. So I'm now doing this. So that gives me 26. Now, if I wanted to, I could do this for every single one of these cells. I could go here to 92 minus 76, press enter, here's 16. I am lazy and I make errors, so I don't want to run the risk of doing that. So I'm gonna now highlight the cell, and you see here it turns into a little plus sign at the bottom of the rectangle. You can then drag it down and it's gonna copy the formula. But while it's copying the formula, it's also grabbing the right value. See, this is 09, 010, 011. Okay. Are we all tracking still?
Yeah.
So our formula was just our 76 or
That's the mean.
X. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So now it's asking me to actually square it, right? So I'm going to do this times this, the same exact value, P7. Okay? I want them to be just times each other. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to drag it down. See, this one is a little smaller, so you can actually verify that it's doing it right, because 4 times 4 is 16, 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 5 is 25, right? Okay. But then I need this business here. I need to figure out the sum of it, right? Because that's what I need for my next one. So how do I get the sum of all of this? I can go back to my auto sum right here, which is going to sum all of these values. Okay. So now I've completed the table. It's the same as what it was over here. I have the sum of the square deviation. Okay. So this is, again, this is my formula. This is what I'm doing. The sum of square deviation divided by the total of n minus 1. So in this instance, what I'm doing is I'm taking this value, 1908, and I'm saying it is minus n minus 1. What's my n?
10.
10 minus 1. Okay?
Isn't it divided by 10
It is.
minus 1?
Yeah. See? Thank you. Divided. I don't know why I did that. Yep. 212. So I'm taking this 1908 and I divided it by 9. Is that the standard deviation? No. No, that is the variance, right? In order to be the standard deviation, what do I need to do to it?
Square root.
Square root. Okay, now one of you had a question. How did you figure out square root? I just started typing it. So I did equal. As soon as you do equal, Excel's like, ooh, formula. And I did SQ. You see right there, it says returns the square root of a number. Does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Double click it and then type in the number 212. Close the parenthesis, press enter. 14.56. Now again, I am anal. I don't like to see all of you will not lose points. I just like it clean. There it is, 14.56. Then somewhere at the bottom, you would need to write mean, standard deviation, and I want you to write in the scores. So the mean was what?
76.
76. What's my standard deviation?
14.16. I mean 56, sorry.
You got it. Okay. And then again, I want this to be easily seen by the professor, so I get all of my points. I'm gonna put it in bold. And that's it. Okay, so can you guys see this? This is a new data set.
No. See where you're pointing?
No, the fact that it's new values now, no.
Where?
Okay, let me share it again. I had two, okay. You guys see that now?
Yes.
This is lab 2. So when you guys work on it, I would recommend you make some space here between the two, but you need to calculate the mean and standard deviation for these 2 samples. Notice that they are not small samples. So make sure that you've included all of that. Show me how you actually did it, the same we did on the other one. Include a column for x minus mean, and the next one, x minus mean squared, and then give me all of the data the same way we just did. Here, I'll bring it back up again. Where was my other guy? Here it is. Make sure you have all of this written. Great.
So can we just do, for those 2 slots, can we just do one at a time in 2 different sheets?
Yes, that's
Okay.
totally fine. That's what I was saying earlier. You guys can do sheets or you can just insert columns so you have extra space. That part's totally up to you.
Okay. And then, so there's a link for that lab, and then should we, will that be copyable in Excel so we can just plug those numbers into it, or should we, because I'm thinking,
The link is going to be this Excel spreadsheet. So I opened up the lab and that's what that is.
got it.
So once you click on that, that's what you'll get. If you're having difficulty, well, not this one, sorry. The other one I was talking about a minute
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're having any difficulty opening it or looking at it, just let me know and I can always send you guys the data some other way.
Well, awesome.
Otherwise, that's it, you guys. This is not meant to be a hard lab. It's meant to get familiar with Excel and how to use some of the shortcuts and yeah, calculating mean and standard deviation.
So everything there does make sense. And that I'm just not sure, like I'd probably lose this like in 48 hours from my brain. So would the lecture be up like in the next 48 hours type of thing?
Yes. So what I've
Okay.
been doing is as soon as the class ends, it whatever it does, like it has to process on Zoom, right, to copy to my computer, and right away I upload it to our YouTube channel. So you're not going to get added links on our Course Connect site, aside from the very first one at the top, like by the announcements. It'll say class lectures. If you click on that, you will have a link to our channel, and you can look at every single class lecture we've had.
Awesome.
They're all divided up in 2 parts because I record the first part, we have a tiny break, then the second part.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Please reach out if you have any difficulties. Again, this is not made to be challenging. For some, as soon as you start doing math, it's like, panic attack. That is not the goal. Please reach out to me if I can be helpful in any way. Sound good?
Sounds
Awesome. Thank you
good.
so much.
All
Thank
right. You guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy that sunshine.
Have a great week.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.